Hey guys, it's me, it's Jess. I just thought today I would talk a little bit about my personality and when it became a huge issue, how it went about. Because I don't know, I've heard some stories and stuff. I think mine's a little different than some other situations. I guess we all uniquely have our own stories, but I thought I would share mine. I haven't really shared a lot about it, so yeah, here we go. So basically I was diagnosed with bipolar when I was like 21, and I got a lot of treatment for that, a lot of hospitals, a lot of stuff like that. And then over time, was diagnosed with, I started cutting at a young age, like 22 maybe or something like that. I guess that's not young, but, I call it young. And I started to have some traits come out, and I was diagnosed with the traits. I was, diagnosed with the traits for quite a while. Many years I was, and I had those traits come out once in a while. Of course, self-harming was part of it, and so it was like, it kind of like, they varied depending on the situation and how long, like, it all depended, on the situation. But basically, I started to drink a lot. My friend passed away and I started to drink a lot. And when I started drinking, I think I started to come more unwell with the traits. And then as I decided to sober up and I was like, I've had enough. I got cirrhosis. I have to stop. Basically, I just, I'm having a hard time concentrating today, guys. Sorry. I'm having a brain fart. So when I sobered up, I went to a 12-step program, and I got a sponsor, and I started the steps. And then shortly after that, I started to get a little bit unwell. And what was happening was basically when I had a sponsor, male or female, because I tried both because I really struggled with the sponsorship thing. Typical, you know. And what happened was I was actually transferring on these people and stuff like that. And I started to just become unwell that way, and all these other things started coming out over time. And I started having a little bit of PTSD kind of symptoms. And yeah, so some things were kind of arising. What kind of why it kind of came up, some of these issues from the past was in the 12 steps, if any of you are familiar with them, in step 4, you actually write down for your resentments and your fears and all that, and your sex content and stuff like that. You write it all down and you look at your past. And I didn't know at this point, but I had opened up the door to my past a long time before that. But I was so unaware that I didn't even know that I had done that until later. And my psychiatrist had told me that. And I was like, what? I just wasn't I was repressing a lot of shit inside me for a long time. And so stuff started coming out. As things started coming out and I started doing my steps and stuff, I actually became really unwell with the borderline. Kind of like a, kind of flashback, go back at me, you know? And when I would do that and get a new sponsor, and I was trying to make it through the steps, and I was like, I have to do this or I'm not going to get better. And which now I know you don't have to ever do the steps if you don't want to. There are many, many other ways to get better. So I went through these steps and it just kept bringing stuff up. So, and I couldn't make it past my 4th, and I made it to my 5th. And once I did my 5th, it's kind of like a confession. And I had someone in mind who kind of had a little bit of mental health training. And he was my sponsor for a bit. And so basically he stopped in the middle of it and he told me, I don't think we should like go any farther. I think you should be doing this with your, like, if you are going to be opening these doors, you should, like, your mental health care team should, like, you know. So over time, I just became more and more unwell. But at the same time, I was waking up. So, like, it's so hard to explain. Like, to me, like, the personality disorder I have is, like, there's two sides to it, okay? There's a really dark side and there's a really beautiful side. And the beautiful side was coming out. But it was like, as the beautiful side was coming out, the dark side would come out more. And it kind of started, like, gaps in my consciousness, my subconsciousness, stuff like that. And I'd just kind of switch and be all over the place with my consciousness, where I was at. But I did, because I was in a 12-step program, I learned an enormous amount of tools right away. They're not all the tools I use today, but they got me by then. And I had the support of my peers, although I really struggled with that too, having a mental illness and stuff in a 12-step program. There's a whole other video if you guys want me to do that. And so I felt I needed to go through these steps. And, you know, unfortunately it is what it is, but it's still, I'm okay with it. But it wasn't so, like, after, like, I had full blown, basically, like, it kind of, like, over a year I'd have more episodes, but then I was have these periods of, like, recovery kind of, or like, where I felt pretty good. Like, I was still having a little bit of fear, I was still having, like, you know, a little bit of abandonment issues or whatever as things come up, because life just does that, and relationships come up, and you know, we just get triggered from it all depends on our individual mind too, you know, and what triggers us and stuff. And I would have, like, little triggers, but I was able to handle them well during those periods where I was, like, doing well. And but those periods were getting smaller and smaller, but now they're, like, way bigger. Like, I can spend weeks in, like, just being happy, really happy, you know. But after that, I went and I found my own tools. Like, I use the 12-step program tools and stuff, and I've also completely on my own just went searching. I searched all over, like, spiritual stuff, anything like that, YouTube, just anything that made me feel good, just learning about self-love and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't actually, like, I had the traits in my chart, but I wasn't actually diagnosed till a couple months ago. And, but, like, my psychiatrist even said, like, I got sent to a psychologist to do a big evaluation. And, like, he even said, like, it's nothing we're surprised by or anything like that. It's nothing we're surprised by. We kind of knew all this stuff. It's just, you know, I just never had it on my chart before. I like to think that, like, I like to try and keep the mindset that everybody has a little bit of personality issues. The negative or the the parts that they struggle with. I know people who have no mental illness and they still have abandonment issues, or they still maybe attach a little bit too much sometimes, you know, or, you know, so I like to think that everybody, like, to me, like, borderline is like our subconscious, our conscious thinking. Like, everybody has some subconscious that they're like, that they have there. Like, everybody does. It's just, for me, it is really extreme, right? It's just, extreme. So it needs to be managed, and I need to get help for that and do what I can. But I really like to keep in mind that, I'm not like, I don't want to say I'm not like the average person, because I don't want to separate myself from like I don't like to separate myself from anybody. Like, I try to connect with people and stuff, and feel not alone, even with someone who doesn't have mental illness, and seeing the things in them that I kind of have too, or, oh yeah, I understand that, you know. But I think overall, I feel like my label, as we'll put it, is really just a label. I don't really, like, I say that because I have to say something for it. But, like, in my mind, it's just like, I try to practice that it's just way too extreme, like, way more extreme than the average person, and everybody has to go through this in their own way, whether they're aware or not. When I did become aware of things, I became aware of a lot of childhood stuff that I had no idea. Like, things I didn't even know, and like, my world, like, once I became aware, even though I was experiencing these nice, like, they weren't even highs, they're just like understanding life for what it is, and then like having like kind of my world just all of a sudden within months, just like, I felt like it just like exploded. Like, all of a sudden I'm aware of all the stuff I wasn't before, like nice things and not so good things, and I felt like it was so overwhelming. And you know, and then that's where my traits turned into the borderline. But it makes sense because I was trying to deal with it in any way. Like, I knew how to deal with all that, and it was so overwhelming that, like, I just did all those behaviors that I kind of already had in me, and they just came out more. So, kind of makes sense to me. So yeah, basically that's just like how it came about. And it's been hard. It's been really hard, but I just keep trucking along and doing what I can. And you never, ever have to look in your past if you don't want to. Never. It's, I think, would I do it differently? No. But I think digging up the past, I think, like, it has to be done so we can heal properly. But at the same time, I'm kind of I'm kind of back and forth about it. Like, and at the same time, it doesn't need to be looked at to get better in recovery. I believe that. Because all that really matters is the present moment. Doesn't matter the future. It doesn't matter the past. It really just matters in this moment what you're doing. I mean, we can think about the future all we want and worry about things, or like plan big like goals or whatever, or like we can look into our past and ruminate on stuff from the past, or worry about something from the past or whatever. But it's the present that matters, even to the point where, like, I'm carrying things from my past still. As I'm recovering, I'm trying to let go of more and get more in the present moment. But I'm trying to let it go. Like, so the borderline behaviors and things from the past, and like if I'm attaching to someone, I'm living in the past. And it's a matter of like really letting that go, which I think I might do a video on how helpful living in the now has been compared to like worrying and stuff like that. Because worrying about something in the future, any kind of worries or anything like that is it's becoming aware. Like I see borderline as an awareness of everything and a perception. And we can change our perception. And that's basically what we want to do in recovery, is change our perception on things if we can. So we can, you know, look at other people's situations, or like reverse things and look, or whatever. Anyways, I'm rambling on. I don't think my phone can hold this much. But yeah, I might do one for in the now, because that was so key for me when I started realizing that stuff. And like doing old behaviors or things we learned in the past and repeating behaviors in the now is actually living in the past. It's not in the now. I don't know if any of this makes sense. I don't even know if I could explain it in a video. I read a book though. I think it's called Enlightenment in the Now or something. Which is really what I'm just trying to do. What a lot of people do is just, you know, live an enlightenment life. That's all I'm trying to do, like a lot of other people do, really. It's just a little bit more challenging for me, right? So, anyways, I hope that helps you guys. I love you guys. Bye.